Hello there, folks. My name is Spoonks, and I saw Good Boy, and it was good. Now, I was pretty curious about this movie. I'm not a horror guy, but even I can admit that this is a really intriguing premise. Just this little horror film about a dog who can sense things that the owner can't. It's a really strong premise, and the hype the movie has gotten after it's premiered at various film festivals, and the trailers certainly caught my attention. And I actually was curious enough to go check it out. And while I don't think it's gonna change the game for the horror genre, I was still pretty satisfied. I found this to be an entertaining, small little horror film. Now, the most crucial, important aspect about this movie is the dog. He's the main character, the star, the focus of the film, the main center of attention, the heart and soul of the movie. And if the dog isn't strong or compelling enough to get us through this movie, then I'm sorry, but the movie failed. Fortunately, they got a very good dog here. As the title says, Indy is a very good boy. Not only does he look precious and adorable, but he's a very solid actor. He actually was able to carry the movie on his shoulders, which is surprising considering he's not a trained dog. This is just the director's dog, and it took them a long time to get the dog ready and prepared to make this movie, and even a longer time to film this movie. During the credits, you can see what it took and how long it took and the lengths they went to make the film with the dog, and that's honestly really cool and inspiring to see. And the fact that this isn't like a trained dog or like enhanced with like special like CGI effects. It's a real dog, and he's able to give such an emotive, heart-wrenching, emotional performance is honestly very impressive to see. And again, he carries the film on his shoulders. The heart and soul of the movie is just this dog trying to protect his owner, and you definitely get that sense throughout the film. The film does a great job conveying the relationship between the owner and the dog. You really do feel their bond and connection. And again, the dog is such a good actor. You feel when he's happy, when he's sad, when he's scared, and when he's determined. Again, he is a very good boy. If he won the Oscar over Leonardo DiCaprio and Timothée Chalamet this award season, I would not complain. He absolutely deserves it. And even on a filmmaking aspect, this movie is just such an inspiration, honestly. The fact that they were able to do this on such a small budget with just this a limited amount of resources, and able to make all of this happen and expand this concept really well, again, is pretty inspiring. And I hope we get to see more filmmakers strive with some unique concepts that are able to work with their limitations here, because again, I found this movie to be pretty solid. It's got issues, yeah, but I like that it was simple. I like that it was slower and it took more of its time. It wasn't like a big major horror movie with a bunch of action set pieces, forced jokes or whatnot. It's slow, it takes its time, and I understand that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it really worked for me, and it actually made the emotional moments and the suspense hit harder for me, honestly. And the movie makes the most out of its simplicity. It is not a long movie at all. It's only like 72 minutes at most, and you can feel it here and there. I do think it stretches itself a bit. More on that later, but again, I think this length was perfect. It was able to execute its themes, its morals, its ideas perfectly in that short amount of time, and it never felt like it was okay. Some points it felt dragged out a bit, but it never felt like it was overstaying its welcome. Any longer, I feel like it would, but given the length, I thought it was long enough. And like I said earlier, the emotional beats I felt were really earned. It actually handles a lot of the emotion and heart very well, and it actually leads to a pretty somber climax that actually touched my heart a bit. Let me just straight up right now, I know this is the thought on everyone's mind. No, nothing seriously bad happens to the dog, but I will say the ending is kind of sad, and it actually kind of touched me in a sense. It didn't make me bawl my eyes out like a Pixar movie or anything, but it certainly, tugged at my heartstrings a bit and made me go, "Aw, that's actually kind of sad." However, not everything works with this movie. Like I said before, I do feel like that the middle chunk of the movie does feel a bit stretched out. You can feel like them trying to like stretch this out to feature length with how like it kind of does sag in the middle despite it being a very short film. I do understand why others would have felt like this would have worked better as a short film, and I feel like it needed just a bit more interesting like sequences or more emotional moments between the owner and the dog to really like make this chunk of the movie flow or move by faster, because you do feel like the movie trying to like pad out and reach the runtime during the middle part of the film, again despite it being so short. And the simplicity works to its strength for its plot, but it kind of works for its detriment in the way the movie looks. It definitely feels and looks like an independent film. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, there's moments in this film where you can definitely feel like, okay, this was they had to work with what they had here, you know what I mean? And you know, especially with like how some of the people talk while the dog isn't noticing, that felt kind of distracting. And again, the dog does make this movie, because outside of the dog, it is a pretty typical by the numbers horror movie. It's not really that scary. It's not really violent by any means necessary. You pretty much know how and what is going to play out and certain themes and topics the movie is going to explore. And while it doesn't make the film a snooze fest, you can basically tell where the movie is going to go. But still though, I still had a really solid time with Good Boy. I can see myself watching this every Halloween, honestly. It's a surprisingly sweet, tender little horror movie. I did not think I would say that this year. With the winning factor being the dog Indy himself, and because he's the main sole focus of the movie, the whole movie worked for me. He carries the whole movie on his shoulders. He is a very strong, talented actor, and you really do feel the connection he has with his owner, and the emotional beats really work in favor because you really do care about whether or not this dog survives this predicament he's in. It's a really strong film in terms of a visual, in terms of the filmmaking perspective. How they were able to get this movie made is honestly really strong, and the simplicity definitely works in its favor in terms of the emotional core and just the filmmaking aspects as a whole. I would recommend it if you are pretty curious. If you saw the trailer, heard the concept, and want to give it a shot, I'd say go for it. If you're not a big horror guy like me, I think you'll manage this movie. Again, I wouldn't call it really scary, and I'm not the biggest horror guy. Again, I can barely watch any of these big scary movies out right now, so the fact that I was able to survive it should be a good sign for you as well. If you are much more into bigger horror movies, I can see this being a bit of a disappointing turnout for you, because again, there are those limitations that hold it back, but I still found this to be satisfying, and if you're willing to give it a shot, I think you'll be satisfied as well. So those are my thoughts on Good Boy. What did you all think of it? If you've seen it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage, the Cowardly Dog Show! Starring Courage, the Cowardly Dog! Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bay. But creepy stuff happens in nowhere. It's up to Courage to save his new home.
Stupid dog! You made me look bad!